Over the next 2 weeks, we are going to focus on Lesson 8 in our Bible book, and the title is Responses to Christ's Power. So we are going to go through this as a PowerPoint, similar to what we would do at school. So I will speak over the PowerPoint, and you will follow along with me in your books. Today is day 1 of our Bible lesson, so please pause the video and open up your Bible book to page 35. We have 2 vocabulary words for this lesson. The first one is Pharisee, and a Pharisee is a Jewish leader who believed in following the law strictly. The second word is content, and content is being happy with what God has given you. Please pause the video and write down these 2 words in the vocabulary section. Now that we've written our 2 vocabulary words, please look at the first pencil below. It says, according to what we have studied so far, why did Christ use miracles in his ministry? Now, take the time to write down the sentence to show the power of God and to prove he was God. So please pause the video and write this next to the first pencil. Now that we've finished the introduction, we're moving down to the first bolded heading. It says, people both glad and mad because of Christ's miracles. Next, we are going to look up some verses to see how people responded to the miracles that Jesus performed. In the first box, it says Matthew 12:14. On the left side is that verse. It says, but the Pharisees went out and plotted how they might kill Jesus. So next to where it says Matthew 12:14 on your paper, please write, the Pharisees talked about killing Jesus. So take the time to write that in the first box. The second verse is Luke 4:36, which says, all the people were amazed and said to each other, what words these are! With authority and power he gives order to impure spirits and they come out. So in your box, please write, people were amazed and wondered where he got his power. Pause the video and write this in the second box. The third verse is Luke 5:26, and that verse says, everyone was amazed and gave praise to God. They were filled with awe and said, we have seen remarkable things today. In the third box, write, they were amazed and praised God. Pause the video and write this in the third box. And lastly, we have the verse Luke 6:11, which says, but the Pharisees and the teachers of the law were furious and began to discuss with one another what they might do to Jesus. So these people, they were furious and talked about what to do with him. Please write that in the last box. This shows that people had different attitudes towards Christ's miracles, but Christ's purpose was only to show that he was God. He used the ministry of miracles to glorify God. He would not perform miracles for any other reason. So we just finished page 35. Please turn to page 36. On page 36, it says, with this in mind, read Luke 23:8-9. This meeting takes place when Christ was brought to trial before he was crucified. Answer the following questions about this meeting. So the verse says, when Herod saw Jesus, he was greatly pleased, because for a long time he had been wanting to see him. From what he had heard about him, he hoped to see him perform a sign of some sort. He plied him with many questions, but Jesus gave him no answer. So underneath that pencil, it says, number 1, who was glad to see Christ? So we know from this verse that Herod was glad to see Christ. So for number 1, write down Herod. For number 2, it says, what did he hope to see? Now we know that he hoped to see, number 2, a miracle. And lastly, it says number 3, how did Christ respond? You can write down that Jesus gave him no answer. So please pause the video to write down those 3 answers in your book. The last paragraph says, Herod wanted to be entertained. Christ always did what he did for a good reason, a godly reason. He did not perform miracles for someone's entertainment. So today we learned a little bit about how people responded to what Jesus did. This is all we are going to focus on today. We will continue with page 36 for day 2.